Good morning, all. Thanks for joining. I'm audible.
Good morning, Rajesh. Yes, you're audible.
Thank you. So, guys, we are continuing the next module. So, we will discuss only Citrix Storefront and Receiver component in Xenapps and Desktop. So, you can see this architecture diagram. So, the Storefront services will be running on the access layer, and which is a front-end layer of the Citrix Xenapps and Desktop environment. So, users will get communicated to Storefront services to log into the Citrix environment with a username and password and accessing the applications and desktops. So if you're looking at Citrix architecture, the Storefront have a multiple responsibilities. So here is a listed. So one is authenticates the users. Authenticates users means once user is browsing the Storefront URL, the Storefront will display the login page. User will enter the username and password. Then the Storefront will verifying the username password, whether it is valid or not with the Active Directory. So this is called authenticates users. Next, enumerates resources. The enumerates resources nothing but the appropriate users once authentication is done. What are the applications membership and desktop membership? Those icons will be displaying on the Storefront page. That's called enumerates the resources requested by the user. Aggregate resources is nothing but the requested by the user once clicking on applications and desktop. The session will be get connected from the VDS server. The appropriate server will be get connected to the backend resource layer by Citrix delivery controller. So aggregating the resources will be getting connected. And fourth point, store subscription. The user which are the store gets subscribed, only the store user can able to logging in and accessing applications and desktop. And finally, if user and the end user computer, if the receiver is not installed, that's a Citrix workspace client, it will offer the receiver downloadable link. We can click download and install, and we can connect the applications and desktop from Citrix environment. So these are the 5 responsibility will take care by Storefront services. If you want to install Storefront server, so minimum you require a 2008 R2 SP1 operating system is required. And nowadays we have a 2019 also, that would be fine. Okay, but in our environment, we already installed 2016 operating system and with the minimum 4 GB of RAM. Okay, and when we are installing the Storefront, it will install Windows Web Server also, IIS, and along with the .NET Framework, PowerShell, Microsoft Management Console also. So the Storefront server should be recommended to install a dedicated server and install SSL certificates. SSL certificate we'll discuss in the security part. So now we already installed a Storefront services on separate server, that is a name called Lab 124-SF01. So this is a server we already installed. Let's open the Storefront console. So the exercise 5.1 exercise install the Storefront server is successfully completed. Let's move on that. So what is meaning of store? So whatever the store we are creating on the Storefront server, it is nothing but it is a website configuration. That's complete your configuration of your environment. We will be stored in the store. So in single Storefront server, we can create a multiple stores based on your requirement. One store for one project, another store for another project, one store for development, one store for testing, one for production, like that you can create it. Even the store will be get connected the resources like applications and desktop from sites and the forms. Even more than one form, more than one site also we can configure. Not only one site we have to configure for per store, not required. Even more than one store, sorry, more than one form, one site also configured per store. So this is the main configuration. Let's go ahead in the Citrix storefront server. Right now, I'm in the storefront console. So here multiple stores are created. So what are the settings are configured in the one store? Maybe if you want the same configuration, another store also can configure. Otherwise, different configurations also we can do that. That's your wish. Okay. And this store will be act as a web page. Okay. The web page link is available. You can copy the link and you can give it to the user. User will be able to access in the network. So within the local area network, wherever the network is possible to get connected, the storefront link, user able to get connected. So how store can be accessible? So step number one, the end user will use the laptop, desktop, tab, mobile devices to connect the storefront page. That's a receiver for website. So receiver website is once it is connected to the store and it will be displaying that the parallel connections to the multiple users, the page will be displaying on the user screen. Next, so here we need to enter the username and password in the storefront page, but the storefront authentication will be two types. So one is a direct authentication, another one is an indirect authentication. That is called XML based authentication. So let's discuss what is meaning of direct authentication. So the storefront will be, once user is accessed, that page will be displaying and user entering the username and password, the username password will be sent to Active Directory directly for verifying the username and password is correct or not. Then once username password is correct, validated by Active Directory, the session will be get connected to delivery controller. Then delivery controller again talks to Active Directory. The user has what are the membership, what are the group membership for the user, and what are the resources is available for the user. The delivery control will checks. So this is called direct authentication. So that means storefront will be connecting to Active Directory directly. Okay, there is no interface, there is no mediator between storefront and AD server. But one more method is there. That's an XML based authentication. The storefront will not directly connected to AD. Whatever the user is connected, the storefront page, after entering the credentials will be forwarded to delivery controller. Delivery controller will forward to Active Directory. So now delivery controller once received a request from Active Directory, the username and password are valid, then it takes the group membership for the user, made available the list of applications or desktops for the user. So this is called indirect authentication. So the storefront is not directly connected to AD, through delivery control it is connecting. This is called indirect authentication, or also called as XML service based authentication. Why we called as XML service based authentication? The storefront server and delivery controller server both are communicating each other with the help of XML service. So that's why through XML we are getting a validating the user and membership details for the user. So we called as XML service based authentication. Any question?
What setting will decide, like, will it be XML or direct one, Rajesh?
Perfect. I'll tell you. Suppose here is my store. Here is my store. When I right click, go to manage authentication methods. Here, username and password will be there. When I click here, there is an option called configure trusted domain, manage password. Here option will be there. Okay, so here trusted domains we are selecting, but that is not correct case. And shared authentication service. 1 minute. Okay. So in the username and password validation, click this setting symbol, go to configure password validation. Directly when we are setting up directly, Active Directory will be there. If you're changing to delivery controller, this is called XML based authentication. Now we need to configure which delivery controller is communicating to Active Directory to validating the credentials. We need to mention here. This is called XML based authentication. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So most of the companies are using direct authentication only. Very, very few companies are using delivery controller authentication. Okay. That is called XML based authentication.
Yeah, like which one is better? Which one is better to use, Rajesh?
Direct authentication is best.
Okay.
But on what scenario we are using indirect authentication means if employees are working, if example, one company, example, Wipro company is delivering the services, but the clients are connecting from Accenture. So here the resources will be get connected by Wipro employees, even Accenture employees also getting connected. So now the two domain controller will comes into the picture, right? So now in this case, they will change to XML based authentication. But here, when we are creating the XML based authentication, before that, we need to change the trusted domains. You can add multiple domain names here. Example, wipro.com. Click here, add accenture.com. Like that, we need to provide here.
That means user added to these domains will be able to log in.
Exactly. Example, you're from Wipro means you will select Wipro and you're logging in. Maybe other person Accenture means they will select the Accenture and they will logging in. Suppose I'll show you. If you click OK, click OK. Okay. I think page is not reflected. Show domain list in the logon page. I'm going to close this browser. Once again, open. You'll get the drop down list like this.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to type the domain name. And one more information also, I need to share it here. Suppose so if you're selecting any domain means anyone we can connect. Okay. If any time, if you want to add, you can add here, add yourself. That's your wish. You can remove, add, edit, all options are available.
Fine.
Okay. If you select any domain means you have to mention the domain name you need to connect it. Okay. Maybe you have a trust between your Wipro to Accenture, maybe whatever it is. But the drop-down list will not work here if you select any domain. You have to mention your domain name properly, then you have to log in.
Yep.
So next, manage password option. So here, normally passwords have some password policies will be there. So users itself, you can change the password in the storefront page itself. So there are certain conditions are there. Only when expire, we can change the password, or anytime we can change the password. So even anytime password we can change. Again, set options are there. Do not remind. So some passwords have some password policies will be there. So password expiring before that, they will be sending reminder. Okay. So if you want, you can use a reminder option from the Active Directory policy. Do not remind is not the best option for you. So most of the companies we are using this option. And if you want any reminder from the storefront, okay, storefront, these many days before you want to get notification, you can select that at least 1 week before you have to send the notifications to the user. At least they have an idea. Before expiring the password, they will change it. Understand?
Yes, sir.
So now I'll give you a small example for you. Okay. I'm refreshing the page, closing it. Now still these options are available. Now Shift Control Delete, clear the browser settings. See, Citrix Storefront will be offering this one, right? It is keep on getting it. Maybe it's a browser issue. Perfect. So now it's changed. I'm logging with my username 1. Why username 1 is not getting connected? Any reason? Username 1 is removed. There is some problem. We need to find out it. lab 124 XDC01. It is working fine. So I think the server is unresponsive state. Because of that, server is not getting connected. Let me connect to Zen server and restart the server back. XDC server, you're not power on, guys. So whenever you turn on both servers, you need to turn on. In case one server is not working, at least another server will handle the connection. Okay. Now can check the server status, whether it is up or not. Still it is booting. Okay, XDC2 is up. Yeah, both servers are up and running now. So let's go to RDP the session. Now can close the browser once again. I need to open it. So guys, now we have some issue. We need to fix that one. Okay. So this type of issues we are frequently receiving in your company. So first we need to verify any kind of storefront alerts are coming in the server. Go to run on the storefront server. Check the services.msc. Now can check the Citrix services. The service is not started. Now it is running. Next, I need to launch the storefront site locally on the storefront server itself. Whether it is working or not. Now successfully connected. So now I'm going to the XEM server, refresh the page. The issue is resolved. So guys, can you tell me where is the issue?
It's with the service.
Service issue. Okay. There's a service issue. Perfect. We learn at least one troubleshooting today. Huh? So now I'm going to jump server and I'm going to show you the settings option, account settings. So here I can log off, I can activate Citrix Receiver, install Citrix Receiver, this option only available. I don't have any options like a reset password. Okay. Now I can go to Storefront, right click, manage authentication, click here and go to manage password options, select this and allow the password change and password expiration, and it comes with a Active Directory group policy. Now successfully completed. The next option is I'm going to refresh this page. I think we need to close it. The settings are not connected. Authentication method. Suppose I'm selecting the do not remind anytime, only available when the receiver for web. So click OK, click OK. Now I'll be clearing the cache, then I'm logging back. So maybe it will work or not. Mhm. Why this option is not coming? Otherwise, I will restart the services. Citrix. IAS admin service, I will restart. Yeah. Yeah. See, guys, there's an option called change password. We can change the password. We can enter the old password and new password, and we can change it. So uh, we don't have any problem like the users will be self resetting the password. This is the best option. We can reduce our Citrix admin task for resetting the password and all changing the password. This is one of the best option. Okay. Now I'll be logging off and log in with this user ID. Let me check this whether it is working or not. I think this user one doesn't have some permissions. I think so. It's a normal user. So probably the options are not coming up. So when we logging with the Citrix admin account, we are getting it. The problem with maybe is a normal account. Okay. Okay, let's go to Storefront and we will explain one by one what are the options are available. First, manage delivery controller. So here, manage delivery controller, we can add multiple sites. In each site, we have add multiple delivery controllers based on your requirement. Not only when you are adding xendesktop, even XenApp 6.5 version also we can add, but right now nobody using that. It's already end of life. So only we are using virtual apps and desktop. The communication should be in real-time environment, HTTPS only. Presently, we are running with the HTTP. So when we are working on security concept, we will discuss that. Next, configure unified experience. This topic I will explain in Netscaler. You can cancel it here. And manage authentications, we successfully completed. So most of the companies we are using username and password configuration only. Otherwise, they will use a smart card authentication. Along with that, smart card authentication. This is a primarily we are using it. And along with that, smart card access also we are using it. So what is a smart card means? Example, in your company, the laptop they'll be providing, right? The laptop will be connected with some slot card reader. So laptop smart card access. See, this type of smart card will be available. So nowadays, some business laptops are getting this option. In case if this slot is not available, this type of external removable device is also available. We can buy that. Okay. So once you insert this, after entering the username and password, then only you can log in. So this card will be issued by some company. Like we have a different smart card companies are there. So smart card access for laptop. Smart card reader access providers. Yeah, this is a company. Okay. This is a very most popular company. The HID. Okay. The company will be provided. So we can download and we can install it. Okay. This is HID. Most of the companies are using this product. But nowadays the laptops are coming with by default options are available. You can use that one. Okay. In case if it's a desktop, we can use that one. Next option. We have a Citrix gateway option is there. So if you have a Citrix configuration is available, so you can select the trusted domain, same configuration, whatever we have given in the username and password, all the settings we can select here. So configure delegated authentication. So through Citrix gateway. So that means, so previously we discussed the direct authentication, XML based authentication. Now this is called fully delegated credentials validation by Citrix gateway. So Citrix Netscaler, it will take care of the validation once you select this option. Okay. And the next option is manage passwords, configure password validation that you know very well, right? Okay. The same options are available based on your configuration. So username, password with a smart card, username, password, smart card along with the Netscaler gateway also we can best option, more security. Most of the companies are configuring it. So smart card is not possible for me to teach here because of it's a third party one. So I need to purchase and I need to take the plan. So going forward, we will discuss about Citrix Gateway. We have a Citrix NetScaler setup, right? We can configure that one. Next,
And SAML
coming to the
authentication, Rajesh, that one not.
yes, please.
SAML authentication is not using anyone.
SAML authentication also one type of authentication. There's a third party provider. If you want, you can use it.
Oh.
Okay, if you are selecting this SAML authentication, you can select this and you can identity provider. So the identity provider address will be provided, certificate and all. You can connect it. So very simple, but we are not managing the SAML. So as a Citrix administrator, we are not managing it. So that will be provided by some third party vendor. So example, so some article will be there. Okay. If you follow this article, we will be configure this, but we have a certificate services, URLs, keys, SSO logins, all these things we required. Even I worked very long back, 10 years back, but recently I never worked this because of we completely moved to the cloud and DevOps, Citrix. We are not working this. Separately, the security team will be there. If they are configured, no, so we can utilize these services. Okay. So they have separate setup. They'll be maintained. We can configure. This is an additional level of security. So right now we have a NetScaler, right? So why should you go for SAML?
Okay.
I think so, not required. So even multi-factor authentication, it came in the market. So based on your requirement, you can use it. But in my real-time environment, last 7-8 years, I never seen anywhere SML configuration enabled for Storefront gateway. Okay, not required. If anybody is asking, no, so tell that I don't have any experience. Okay. If you're giving more experience onto the technology, also it will be problem. Okay. So that is not your job actually. So SML will be taken care by other one. They will give some kind of address and thumbprint values and all. So when I click add like a thumbprint and subject date name, so you can just add it. That one. That's fine.
Okay.
So when they'll be browsing that, automatically SML redirection will be taken care. So that's one option is there. Another option is domain pass through. Domain pass through. So so if you are enabling this, no, so directly the receiver for website option will be directly connecting to Active Directory and will be validating. So like a web-based access that is not as safe and secure. So even this is a very, very old options. Okay. One of the best combination is a smart card pass through with an NetScaler only best option. So in my companies, all three options we are using. Okay, my previous projects and all, three options we are used it. Nowadays, in present company, only NetScaler gateway and user and password. These two options we are enabling. Coming back to the manage receiver for websites. So this is the receiver. In case if you are configuring additional websites, you can select like this and you can create a new site and you can set a authentication level and you can create it. Additional. So that means a single storefront, and we have a multiple storefront URLs. You can give different name. That is possible. Okay. If you want, you can give like this. So if you're creating the URL means the related information, everything will be stored in the C inet pub, www root, Citrix. See, Rajesh Web 2 is created. Finish. Okay, now you can go and you can check this. Two websites are. Now you can copy this URL. Now you can browse it. So multiple URLs can be configured per store. Multiple URLs can be configured per store. Okay. So what is the purpose we are creating? What is the purpose we are creating? Any idea?
For a different set of users and giving them access to different apps and desktops.
No. If you're a single store, if you have a same applications will be connected both URL, right? Example, instead of creating multiple stores, same duplication applications for two different projects, you can create the URL name should be example Rajesh project 1, Rajesh apps project 2, like that we can create. So people don't know what is about project 1, right? That is none of their business, right? So we are publishing applications to the end users. How if you configure what they know? Not required. So we can create a multiple URLs per store and we can publish it them. See, these sites allow users to store Rajesh apps through web page. Both URLs are getting access to this page. This particular Rajesh apps can be accessible.
Just to segregate internal and external users.
Yes, even that is also perfect plan. Yes, you can do that. Suppose maybe one URL for internal I created. Okay. So example, if you are going to the configure, okay, different settings we can configure. And if you go to other URL, different settings I can configure. Suppose in authentication methods, I can configure the NetScaler gateway, maybe smart card access, like this. But in the parent level, I has not created a gateway. That's why options are grayed out. So this option is disabled. So what about the first one? Even this is also disabled. Suppose if I'm right click, manage authentication methods, if I'm enabling this option, click OK. This is a parent level settings. Okay. This is a parent level settings. That is a child level settings. Any other question?
No, Rajesh.
Okay.
Rajesh bro, I have a doubt in this storefront alone.
Mhm.
I created a delivery group and um, uh, create a tag and assign to two different users like production and dev. And I gave the delivery controller only specific to my URL. But when I try on Rajesh apps URL also, that apps and desktops are visible.
So
So
I told
if
you know, there's a specific storefront URL we need to configure for the delivery group.
yeah, I
Delivery group.
configured my URL alone, like TK apps alone.
Mhm.
But still, when I log in with the same user on your URL also,
Mhm.
I could see that apps.
Okay. Okay. But actually, it is not supposed to view other apps if you selected a specific apps to that. Okay.
Yeah, I think if possible, could you please check the settings?
Right. I'll check that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll check that. So guys, you understand? So what is meaning of authentications, authentication methods? Okay. So how you can set up the password reminder policies and you are understand that. So the non-domain join means nobody will use that. Completely everyone they'll be using domain join missions only. So once we are getting launched the applications, any application you can select and you can add to favorites. So what are the applications you have frequently used, you can add to the favorites and you can, any point of time you can remove it. That's your wish. So server group. So server group. So can you please set up one more storefront server by tomorrow? So who will take care of this? Dora, you can create another server name lab124-SF02. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
So one more server you can create. So, and make sure you have to join to the domain controller member. Then I'll install the storefront services. Then I'll add here. Okay. Into the storefront group. Okay. So tomorrow we will see this concept. Please complete this one. So once it is completed, then next class, day after tomorrow, I'll continue for the NetScaler. Okay.
Rajesh.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Good day. Bye bye.
Thanks, Rajesh.